This name is really polarizing, and you guys are probably going to roll your eyes at it, but it's Devin Booker. And Pistons fans want to know, obviously, being from Grand Rapids, being from Michigan, he's always wearing Detroit sports gear. I'll ask you guys this question. Do the Pistons have any chance of getting a Devin Booker in a Pistons uniform?
I'll go first, Blake, because I've got a bit of a contrarian answer here. I don't think the Pistons should even want a chance to get Devin Booker in a Pistons uniform. He's coming up on his 30th birthday, and what we've seen out of Bradley Beal, who at his peak is an extremely similar player in terms of play style to what Devin Booker has shown us, I am not excited about Devin Booker on a massive contract getting into his mid and late 30s. I would pass. I think that they'll have other opportunities to get other stars, and best case scenario with a guy like Booker is, yes, he's still a good shooter. Yes, he's still a good scorer, but everything else starts to fall by the wayside, and he's getting paid, $60 million or something insane on his next contract extension. No Devin Booker for me. I'm good. I think you let this thing continue to play out, continue to strike maybe while the iron's hot on turning in some of the Pistons' younger players for a younger star, whoever that may be. I don't know, but someone much closer to Cade's age range in that 25 to maybe 26, 27 area, instead of Book, who's approaching an age range that, with his play style, just concerns me a lot. I don't even want him. I love the Detroit ties, the Michigan ties. Like, I get all that. I don't want them. Not at that price, I should say.
Yeah,
free, of course.
I will say I love Devin Booker. My dad lives in Arizona, so I sort of followed those teams like after Detroit, and like I loved watching the Suns run in the bubble. They get CP3, they make that run to the finals, and the KD experiment hasn't go good. And I'll be the first to say I was thrilled when the Pistons hired Monty Williams. Like, I knew a lot of people were, just after like watching what he did with that team in the bubble, and then the turnaround and making the run for the final. Like, I bought into the vision, and I'm with Wes. Like, I'm not giving up the farm to bring in Devin Booker. I think if you can get him for a semi lower price, like, the thing is, like, Booker has been on the record saying he wants to play for the Suns for his full career, but just with everything going down there, it seems like that might change a little bit, and maybe the organization tries to trade him. I feel like with what we've seen Matt Ishbia do since he bought that team, it doesn't seem like he's really interested in sending out stars, but he's probably going to have to do that at some point. And does he strip it down, take what he can get for Devin Booker, who's probably his best asset right now? I think that might be the case, but I don't know if the Pistons are the best suitor for it, especially just because of the price they'd probably have to pay. I think a move, because I think the Pistons are positioning themselves to make a trade at some point, like probably over the next year, especially if their draft pick conveys and opens up that all those assets. I think the deal that might be I don't have like a player, but I think similar to what Cleveland did and bringing in DeAndre Hunter at the trade deadline, like a move like that. Can't say who it would be right now, but you never know because players come available all the time. Like Book's a great example of that. We didn't think he was going to be available, and now with the disaster in Phoenix, that might change. So yeah, I think this one it just doesn't feel right to me, but I think there is a deal at some point. But if Langdon like does believe that Booker is the swing that this team should take, like, that I could potentially be convinced depending on what the package is. I just don't think it's the likely outcome.
Really quick, I want to pull the comparison one more time because I don't want to let it go. Bradley Beal peaks in his age 27 season. It's like 31 points. Let's see. He was averaging 4 rebounds and 5.5 assists. Devin Booker, age 27, was 27 points. Let's see, 4.5 rebounds and 7 assists. So a little bit more assists. Bradley Beal has not even eclipsed 25 points per game since. It has been a precipitous fall since then with some of those lower body injuries. And Devin Booker, this year he's up at 26, right? So it's not that far of a drop off yet, but he just turned, I think recently 28. Again, not saying they're the same guys. That would be awful. That would be awful if you get him, you make a big swing, you sell all your assets, you sell the farm, right, to bring him in. And then all of a sudden he's like 18 points per game as a really good shooter. It's like you're getting that from Jaden Ivey, frankly, right now.
I'm so glad you brought up Jaden Ivey because that was a talking point. I'm sure you guys saw it from radio stations here locally to fans. They think like, oh, we can just trade Jaden Ivey and get Devin Booker and maybe throw in like a Marcus Sasser or something like that and get him, right? Like, it's not going to happen. Like, I guarantee you, if you called Matt Ishbia and the Suns, they'd ask for Cade Cunningham straight up. Like, they're not going to take your – it boggles my mind every time like a star, like whether it's Devin Booker, Lauri Markkanen, Jaren Jackson Jr., whatever it may be, like, yeah, we'll just throw like Bobby Klippman and like maybe a first and they'll take it. Like, I think sometimes the casual fan doesn't understand, like a player of Booker's status, they probably want your best player on this team. And I'm with you, Wes.
Any fair deal for Booker, by the way, is like Asar Thompson and multiple picks, and that's your starting point. And is that worth it? I don't know. Like, are you willing to go Jaden Ivey, Ron Holland, and 3 first-round picks? Good God, I don't know. I don't think I am, right? Like, these are the deals. These are the trades you'd be talking about. It's not a trade for Devin Booker is going to rival like what Toronto gave up for Kawhi, right? It's going to be something like that. It's not cheap at all.
Yeah. And if Booker does get traded, I think it's 2 Western Conference teams I'd look at. I think it's Houston and OKC because they have the draft capital, they have the young assets, and I feel like those are 2 teams that are like ready to compete for a championship. I think it would be a feel-good story, don't get me wrong.